Could Tyler Shough be the next Saints legend? All right. After further review with Matt Moscona, this is the backdrop. Man, we are jumping. They're jumping ahead quite a bit here. Now Tyler Shough could be the next Saints legend. All right. Real quick before we get into this, I want to show you the Rookie of the Year odds. So here's the Rookie of the Year odds. Crazy Rookie of the Year race. Like, no one wants to win it. Ted McMillan right now is the favorite. Jackson Dart's plus 230, but he really hasn't played. He got hurt. He hadn't played great since he came back. So he's got to do some stuff. If Jackson Dart has a strong end of the year, he could win it. Tyler Warren probably can't win it now that they don't have a quarterback. Emeka Egbuka has been struggling, dropped a touchdown pass against the Saints. And then it's just a bunch of Omarion Hampton has played one game, basically. But look at this. This is interesting. So Tyler Shough is down here with Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward. Like, think about how bad Cam Ward has to have been this year. He's the first overall pick and has played every single snap. And he's down here with similar odds to Shedeur Sanders and Tyler Shough. Like, it's crazy. I mean, I know everyone wants to tank to have the first overall pick to take your franchise quarterback, and then you'll be really good, right? Like Cam Ward. But insane that Shough, Sanders, and Ward basically have the exact, pretty much have the same odds to win Rookie of the Year. And Shough's played 4 games. Sanders has played like 2.5 games, and Cam Ward's played every single one. But if Shough, I'll say this, the reason I'm showing you this. If Shough wins out and he gets a little help along the way with like McMillan struggling, Egbuka continuing to struggle, whatever. If Shough wins out and the Saints end up with 7 wins and he is the driving force of that and he looks good and has highlight plays like he did against the Bucs, he has a super outside chance to win. I'm not saying to go, I'm not saying to go crazy here, okay? But $25 wins you $6,200. So if you want a lottery ticket, Powerball is almost $1 billion right now. If you want to, I would. It'll probably be more fun instead of buying a $20 Powerball ticket. Go put $20 on Tyler Shough right now, a defensive rookie or offensive rookie of the year. 20 wins you $5,000, gives you something to sweat out. If he wins out and looks good along the way, I think he could do. He has an outside shot. I'm not saying he could or will or whatever, but if he lights up the Panthers and has a couple more big runs and everyone else continues to struggle, he could at least sneak into the conversation. And after the Tampa Bay game, I think people are paying attention now. And if he has a big performance against the Panthers at home, I think you'll start to hear this conversation. So this is just kind of getting ahead of that conversation. Again, it's a $20 lottery ticket. Just some food for thought.
Tom, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing good.
Okay. You heard Demario's comments. It was a big long cut, by the way, for those who didn't hear the entirety of it. But I'll just get...
Yeah, Demario basically said Shough has the it factor.
Your take and maybe let you elaborate a bit on what you saw from Shough and then also Demario's comments about it.
Yeah, I think for me, I was a little apprehensive going all the way back to the draft. Like, this is a guy, 26 years old, played on 3 different teams, never really produced a whole lot in college, was injury prone. And then in the preseason, it was kind of, it was a blah preseason. But I think the team handled him correctly. Let Spencer start, let him get used to the speed of the game, to the routine every week, to the meetings. And I saw in the Tampa Bay game a few weeks ago when they threw him in, I saw some throws, and I thought, okay, those are NFL throws. The ball jumps out of his arm, out of his hand. And then they go to Carolina, beat Carolina, and he played really well in that game, threw the ball vertically. And I said in our postgame show, he's walking around the field different. Like, big body language. I'm a big body language guy. And he was walking around the field that day in Carolina like, man, I can play at this level.
Yeah, and you never know. You never, ever know how a player is going to handle the NFL or a change in scenery or new responsibilities or a new locker room or whatever. I'll tell you this. I love him like a brother. I think Kellen and this staff and front office have pushed all the right buttons with Shough. If Kellen and them would have said, you know what, he's my guy, took him second round, 40th overall, we're starting him week 1. I don't think it would have been pretty. And I don't think he was ready. And I think they gave him time, got him used to the NFL, got him in a good situation against the Rams where he could go take his lumps on the road, kind of use it as an extended like preseason game, and then hit the ground running. And he does look different, body language wise. He does act different. He sounds different when you hear him in post game or whatever. He's moving around like he's the king of the castle, and this is his team, and he's got something very similar to how Jackson Dart's moving around in New York. Look, right now, if you're watching this team, you're watching Shough play, and you're watching him perform, and you're watching how he's moving and acting and whatever, it's his team. That debate is over, right? Now, it's let's pump the brakes. I'm not saying he's going to be the next Saints legend. I'm not saying to build a statue. I'm not saying any of that stuff. But right now, there's nothing negative to say. And stacking those performances on top of each other, that is how you become a legend. And that is how you become a good starter in the NFL. And that is how you become the franchise quarterback. And winning and these performances and all of that does a lot for you. In Miami, Chris Olave drops the pass, and no one is saying nothing about Tyler Shough, Saints legend, whatever, all that stuff after the Miami game, because we lost. Winning changes the narrative a lot. Should it? But if Shough goes and smacks up Carolina, and God forbid, if this team wins out, and they are a 7-win team, after the way they started, YouTube ain't going to be able to get rid of me, boy. I'm going to be everywhere. I'll be the happiest person on earth. And, And
when a young guy starts to do that, that's where you start to think, okay, maybe there's something here. You saw that again in Tampa Bay yesterday. Not so much in the pass game. The weather didn't permit that as much, but just running the football, doing what Kellen needed him to do. And then, obviously I do the pregame, postgame for the Saints. Postgame comments come up. We're sitting there listening to players talk. They asked Demario this question about Shough. And I'm thinking, okay, I want to hear this because this is a guy on the inside. He's played a lot of football. He was with Drew. He's been around. And when a guy like that says he's got the it factor, that carries a lot of weight. That's not like, if he didn't believe that, he's not going to say that. So it kind of confirmed what I was thinking based on what I was seeing in the body language of Shough.
Scott, for someone who didn't see the game, and you're going to look at the box score with Shough, and you go 13 of 20 for 144, no touchdowns and a pick, like that doesn't look like the stat line that's going to make you go, we got our guy. But you watch the game, you're like, damn, got our guy. So
anybody looking at ESPN's box score like that and like individual stats, and they're not digging into the team stats and all that stuff, like, man, you are in the past. That's why we look at the stats that we look at. If you want to see how a quarterback plays, you don't go to their box score and look at passing yards or whatever, the QBR, right? What ESPN, their proprietary blend to tell you how good a quarterback is.
What did you see that extends beyond, like tangibly, that extends beyond the stats, plays or moments that you thought were illustrative of what you're describing?
Oh, I know two. The 2 touchdown runs, they were insane. The one when he escaped out of the back of the pocket and was trying to get dragged down like 3 different times, that play was crazy. That is not a play. Like I always talk about like Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew with the Raiders. You could watch both of them, and they both gave you a chance to win, I guess. Like they were serviceable enough, but they didn't have any of those moments where you're like, oh my God, what the hell was that? Tyler Shough just had that moment where that's not something that just anyone can do. That's something where it's like, okay, what was that? If you bottle that up, ayo.
Yeah, I think just if you around the game, you're around players, you watch guys and their moxie and their intangibles and not the box score. You just get a feeling, and like I said, I kind of had that feeling a few weeks ago, but I think yesterday not so much yesterday. The one thing that impressed me, if you want people to impress by Tyler Shough and stats, he's a rookie quarterback who's completing 68% of his passes. That's phenomenal. I mean,
it's also a lot of Kellen Moore. Something else that people have been really slow to pick up on, while they're trying to fire Kellen Moore, is between Spencer Rattler and Tyler Shough, we've had really good quarterback play the entire season. And it kind of says a lot about Kellen and this offense that that's a legitimate quarterback whisperer where you roll in here, implement a new system, and you've got Tyler Shough and Spencer Rattler, and you can flip-flop them and get pretty good results. Very impressive for Kellen.
If you want to win football in the NFL and the ball's only hitting the ground 3 times out of 10 passes, you're going to win a lot of games. We got used to seeing that with number 9. He was up there, 68, 69, 70% completion percentage. That will win you games. That tells me as a young guy, he isn't panicking. He's doing a good job in the pocket, which is improvement from what I saw in his college tape. He's going from first read, second read, third read. He's making the right decisions, and the game's slowing down to him. And that's why I think you start to see people believing that this guy can be a franchise quarterback.
Well, that happens all the time with college and pros, where you'll see a player in college and it'll be like, well, yeah, you got problems here, and here, but we can fix that in the pros. And then they get to the pros and they don't fix it, and they just are who they are, and the red flags are what they are. But some of those red flags that we saw at Louisville that we were told, we can fix this, we can change this, we can whatever. Again, it's only been a couple games. But it looks like Kellen is fixing that. And, maybe that's because of having all those quarterbacks in the room. Maybe that's because of whatever. But whatever the reason is, he is getting better. And another term for that is development. And it wasn't too long ago the Saints were known for developing players. I just let my Mississippi hang out. Did y'all hear that fur? Known for? Oh, my God. Damn. Felt like I was in the middle of a Mark Twain book. Hey, you can take the guy out of Mississippi, but you can't take the Mississippi out of the guy. Man, fur. Brutal.
As a defender, when you look at the Saints offense right now, who else are you noticing that you think has some upside?
Devon freaking Vele. I can't say enough about this guy. Devon Vele is legit. Okay? He is, and we said this 2 freaking weeks ago. If y'all been following the channel, which I know you are, I was betting on him to score touchdowns a month ago. Right? He makes every catch. Every contested catch. Every tough catch. The only catch I've seen him not make is the one on third down at the end of the Tampa game, which actually cost me a ton of money because I had him over 3.5 catches, and that would have put him at 4. So not happy about that. But Devon Vele is legit. He is legit. Like, he could be a 1. He could absolutely be a number 1. Absolutely. Like, you see, I'm not no shade to these guys, but you see like Bub Means or Mason Tipton or whatever. And, in the past, people have been like, do you think they could be the 1 or the 2? It's like, I don't think so. Devon Vele, watching his skill set, he can absolutely be a 1 or a 2.
Well, I think Devin Neal's done a good job taking advantage of his opportunities. Now, I don't think Devin's a number 1 back, but I think he certainly is a change of pace back. I believe for the last 2 years, the Saints' biggest need was running back. I think it's not a knock against Alvin, but he's going to be in year 10 next year. I think you take a guy like Achane from the Dolphins and put him on the Saints offense, I think it dramatically changes the offense. So if they
hell yeah, he's like the best running back in the league. Hell yeah, brother. If you took Devon Achane and Jamar Chase and put them on the Saints, I think it would definitely change the offense.
Twitchy running back, I think it helps them. So I like what Neal's doing as a young guy, but I think Vele the last couple weeks, you trade a 4th-round pick for a wide receiver, he better produce. And I think after getting rid of Shaheed, he's getting some targets. What he reminds me of, and it reminds me of Colston. He's a big body guy.
For 1 second, can we just talk about the cooking Mickey has done recently? Marshawn Lattimore traded, LOL, one of the worst cornerbacks in the NFL since then. Rashid Shaheed traded, has done absolutely nothing in Seattle, but James, he had a punt return. Whatever. We're going to extend him and get some picks for him. Trevor Penning has already been benched multiple times with the Chargers. Pick for him. Trades for Vele. Vele's best wide receiver in the NFL. I mean, unbelievable. Unreal what the front office has done with some of these trades and picks and players. And kudos to Kellen or who the hell ever that said, hey, man, go get Devon Bailey.
Running those deep digs, deep in routes, catching the ball in traffic, because the Saints, we've missed that. Chris Olave is not so much that receiver, but Bailey being that big body presence who's willing to catch the ball in traffic into the noise, I think has changed this offense the last couple games.
Yeah. Scott Shanley's with us, former Saint linebacker, catching pre- and post-game on the Saints pre- and post-game show. It streams on their Twitter, by the way, too, so you can check it out there. Follow the Saints on Twitter. You can get Scott at Scott Shanley. Scott, flip it over, because, look, as much as we're going to talk about Tyler Shough, and I get it, man, I watched the Saints defense struggle so much, especially on the road early in the season. And to go to Tampa, and I get the weather being what it was, but to hold Tampa to 20 points, to stop them 5 times on fourth down was impressive. Where do you see the most improvement week 1 to now defensively?
So defensively, this was another thing where we let's take a look. Almost every week at the beginning of the season, we would go through the box score and would say, it's kind of crazy because the defense held blank in check, whoever in check, right? Even though we would lose games, whatever, it's like the defense played pretty well. And then, of course, we have people saying, no, the defense sucks. No, they all garbage, whatever. First game of the year, Arizona, 4.5 yards per play. Saints had 4.6. Very dangerous offense with James Conner at the time was fully healthy. He goes 12 for 39 for 3.3 yards. Trey Benson has a 52-yard run, but beyond that, fine. Kyler Murray, 21 for 29, 163. Okay. Trey McBride, 6 for 61. That is containing Trey McBride. All right. And then you go to the 49ers. Christian McCaffrey comes to town. Christian McCaffrey has 13 for 55. Cool. 13 for 55 for Christian McCaffrey. That is held in check. Then you go Seattle. Yep, the Seattle box score was ugly, but Seattle ran the ball for 2.6 yards a carry. Sam Darnold was 14 for 18 for 218. Darnold was doing his thing at this time for sure, and this was an ugly game, and he could kind of do whatever he wanted. JSN is the man for sure. But this running thing, Kenneth Walker, 16 for 38, 2.4. Okay. The team has kind of been doing this all year long. The Bills, they got on in the run game. James Cook did his thing. Josh Allen, 7 for 45, whatever. But James Cook was good in this game for sure. The Chicago game, let's see what they held. Yeah, the running game in Buffalo was whatever. The Chicago game was another bad one. All right, Chicago, again, I don't know where the hell this came from with DeAndre Swift, but this was ugly as well. But there have been a lot of times this year where you look at this team. This Buccaneers game, they played the Buccaneers the first time. They held the Bucs to 3.8 yards per play in the dome, right? 3.8 yards a play. So there's been plenty of times where you could look at 29 carries for 88 yards. All right. Baker goes 15 for 24 for 152 yards. Okay. More than not, really outside of the Bills and the Bears game, Seahawks game was just, it was an insane situation, but outside of the Bills and the Bears, they've done a pretty good job of holding these teams and holding certain players to virtually nothing. Bijan has 14 for 70, but one's a 32-yard run, right? So 13 for 38 is what Bijan was at before that run. Very impressive from the Saints defense all year long.
Well, I think a lot of times people don't give enough credit to how hard it is to change from scheme to scheme. And
yeah.
I know Demario's been in the league a long time. Pete Warner's played a lot of football. Cam's played a lot of football. A lot of these guys, they're veteran players. Alante. But there's a huge learning curve. So learning how a new defense coordinator, how he calls things, how he wants you to play things, there's a huge difference between Dennis Allen's defense and what Staley's doing. So I think
especially Fangio's defense. Vic Fangio's defenses are notorious for being hard to learn for players, and they don't like learning it. That was his problem in Miami. Philadelphia had the same issue where it took a while for them to figure out exactly what the hell he wanted them to do. It takes a minute to learn that. It is a very complex, and there's a lot of responsibilities on the players. 9 out of 10 times, a Fangio's defense is going to be better in the back half of the year because they finally figure it out and learn it. And we're kind of seeing that with this. And Brandon Staley is the ultimate Fangio disciple. He is his guy. All right. He is the protege. So I'm not surprised at all that players like Alontae Taylor, Kool-Aid, Quincy Riley, whatever, they're getting better as the year goes on. Difficult defense to pick up.
It took half a year for these guys to learn how to play in this primarily zone defensive scheme. And once they settled in and understand what their role is in this defense and they're playing together, I think that's where you've seen, and Staley understands how to utilize certain players. So I think they're playing good as
well. Not only that, Scott, but think about the rotation, right? At one point it's Justin Reed, at one point it's Julian Blackman, at one point it's Isaac Yadam, at one point it's this player and that player, and now they're moving stuff around, and now it's Sanker, now it's Riley, now it's this, now it's that. Not only the scheme, but who's even on the field. Like that's rotated and changed as well.
The unit. And a couple weeks ago, they lost a game, and again, in the post-game press conference, Kool-Aid gets up there and he's talking about how they don't want to let each other down. They want to play hard for one another. Coach Staley always preaches about, do your job. And I'm like, these are all good signs. This is a team that's not won a lot of games, and yet they're still trying to do the right culture things for each other. And I agree with you 100%. Shough's, the talk of the Saints because he's the franchise. Everybody wants him to be the franchise quarterback. But I agree with you 100%. I think Staley and the defense is kind of the forgotten thing about how well they've been playing.
Scott.
Yeah, I mean, DVOA, they're we can check it real quick. DVOA, the Saints are 16th. They're the 16th best defense in the NFL overall. Pass defense, they are 21st. Run defense, they are 13th. So, yeah, pretty sporty. 13th run defense, 16th overall, 21st pass defense.
Scott, make this make sense for a football dummy like me. What is the biggest difference that you see? You talk about like the transition, right, from Allen to Staley. Like, what's the biggest difference that's tough for those guys to go through in this transition? Like, what do you see?
Well, Allen and Staley, it's completely different defenses. Allen is primarily, he's going to try and, he leaves his cornerbacks on an island and expects them to hold up in coverage and man while he blitzes and gets pressure on the quarterback, which is why at the end there, we constantly saw pass interference or defensive holding, is because he's leaving those guys on an island. And it's on you. There's no help. Staley runs a completely different system. It's a 4-3 to a 3-4 just to start. But then Staley also has like this pattern matching zone, which is what Saban and what Fangio have made famous. But now the secondary, like the cornerbacks, instead of playing man or being left on an island, they're in this like pseudo zone, and depending on what route the wide receivers are running, they have to match it with whatever the coverage responsibility is per the play. So it's a lot for a cornerback to know what you're supposed to do, but then also to be able to recognize what the receivers are doing, and then as they go through your zone, now you have to change what your, whatever the responsibility is, like I said, in any given play. So it's completely different.
Yeah, and I parallel it a lot to, I played for Greg Williams. We had the 1 year of Steve Spagnuolo, and he was not a fit for us. He obviously a great defense coordinator. He went and won Super Bowls. But for what we did with Greg, we were a huge man, pressure team. Steve comes in, and he's a huge zone guy, and he plays everything differently. We have to relearn that. And it was a horrible year in 2012. And I think early in the year, that was the problem with Staley. These guys are learning now how to play zone defense, play this odd man front with a 3-4 mainly. Yeah. Just Granderson standing up, Chase is standing up, Cam's now standing up primarily. So just a lot of moving parts that took guys a while to settle down and learn how to do it.
When you and Scott Chandler's with us for a couple more minutes, there's always this conversation, Scott, that fans have in media about like, do you want to win or do you want to lose and get the draft pick?
I just released an absolute classic video completely busting this myth, proving once and for all that it does not matter if you have a high draft pick. It is not correlated to future success, and it's the dumbest thing possible to root for or hope your team loses to get a higher draft pick. And I hope and expect Scott Shanley to say the players don't care at all. They're on the field. They're getting their ass kicked. They're playing a very physical game. They aren't thinking, man, it's 3rd and 6. I might need to let them get this first down because it could raise our draft stock from the 7th pick to the 3rd pick. And then the Saints can draft someone to take my job, and I can be homeless. Yay! Let this guy whoop my ass all over the place for the next 4 quarters in front of millions of people watching. Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be really awesome.
Give me the player's perspective, if you would, on where you fall.
Well, I'll tell you, I understand the sentiment. Certainly, when you're getting the fan or media mode, it's all about you want that high pick.
Yeah.
But the reason, even as a fan and media member now, I'm like, I don't necessarily subscribe to that because I don't think there's not a Peyton Manning. There's not an Andrew Luck. There's not a guy who's going to change your franchise. If anything, if you get a top 5 pick for me, I'm beating Mickey's door down saying trade this damn thing down and collect a ton of picks because I don't think there's a player who changes your life. So for me, I would much rather see the franchise turn a corner, find their franchise quarterback, have some hope going into the next year than to be the number 1 pick or number 2.
3 highest graded draft prospects ever, quarterback position. Number 1, John Elway. Number 2, Trevor Lawrence. And number 3, Andrew Luck. Luck and Lawrence, you can say what you want about Andrew Luck. People love him, but he didn't win nothing in Indy. Didn't win nothing. You drill that pick, nail it, fantastic. You got your guy. I hope you enjoyed a couple 10-win seasons and a bunch of one-and-dones in the playoffs.
Because like I said, I don't think there's anybody that changes. As a player, you don't care about it. I mean, because the NFL, It's a day-to-day interview. If you're trying to interview every single day for your contract, and I've always said if the NBA would give those guys contracts like the NFL players have, you would see an entirely different league because it's a year-to-year league, man. You got to interview every single day, so players don't really fall in line with the whole draft pick thing.
I'm with you, man.
It's the dumbest thing in the world. It honestly is. It drives me crazy hearing it. It drives me crazy the second I hear, well, you should lose so that you get a higher pick. The team wants to lose. The team is tanking. It's like, you think these offensive linemen, you think the guy lined across from Vita Vea, okay? You think Luke Fortner is going to say, man, I know I'm a professional football player. I'm trying to make my own money. I'm trying to get my own contracts. I'm trying to put on my best tape. Maybe I should just get steamrolled by Vita Vea for the next 4 hours. Just get ragdolled so that this team can get a high pick. Yeah, that sounds like something I would absolutely want to do. It makes no sense at all.
Man, go win games. Like, let's see Tyler Shough get better, improve, and build around your franchise. Where do you think, as you assess the roster now with 4 games to go, where do you think the biggest needs are going to be in draft and free agency?
Interior offensive line.
It'll be interesting to see. Now, we've gotten used to the Saints being in cap hell every year, and that's alleviating. That's thawing out.
Wait, what do you mean, Scott? We're not in cap hell anymore? Wait a minute. Well, hold on a second. I was told we're in cap hell and we're an old roster. What about gum smack and mix, Scott? Wait.
I think next year the Saints have one of the most highest cap numbers in the league, so they're going to have money to spend.
Oh, wait till you see 2027, my boy. If you think 2026 is cool, wait till you see 2027, my boy.
The free agency, they're going to lock down some of these young guys. Obviously, Chris Olave, I don't know if he'll be back. Alante, they're going to have to make some decisions on some of these guys. But I think they need players on offense. They need playmakers. There's no guy that you get the ball in their hand, they make 2 guys miss, and they can go the distance. They need some twitchy guys, some running backs, another receiver. They need speed on offense.
Yeah.
And then defense, obviously, Demario and Cam are playing great, but you got to start drafting guys to replace guys. And that's why I'm a big subscriber. If you're a top 5 pick, which you may end up with, trade down and get more picks. That's how you.
Yeah, if you can trade down, always trade down. But it takes 2 to tango.
You build your roster and get out of the hole quickly.
He's Scott Shanley, former Saint linebacker, catching pre and post game there with the Saints in-house broadcast. Hey, man, we always appreciate a couple of minutes. Thank you.
Yep. No.
I love whenever they have like some former player, or former coach, or Hall of Famer on or whatever, and they just say what I say. And I didn't win multiple 3-on-3 flag football tournaments for nothing. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.